Now it's time for your 420 Radio News for Monday, March 8th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. Maryland medical marijuana bill heads to the Senate and Governor Martin O'Malley. The Maryland Senate has approved a medical marijuana bill on Monday by a vote of 42-4. This from HuffingtonPost.com. The bill passed on the last day of the legislative session. The bill now heads to Governor Martin O'Malley's desk. According to the Baltimore Sun, he is expected to sign the bill, having called the bill a, quote, yellow light approach to medical marijuana. The AP reports that the bill would create a state commission to oversee medical marijuana programs at academic medical research centers that decide to participate. On March 8, Maryland's health secretary backed the legislation, noting the O'Malley administration had changed its position on medical marijuana last year. Legal marijuana sales set to quadruple by 2018, according to a new study. This from Huffington Post. U.S. legal marijuana sales are projected to hit $1.5 billion this year, and that could look like nothing in just a few years. Data from Medical Marijuana Business Daily shows that total sales could quadruple to $6 billion by 2018 on the back of legalization efforts in Washington and Colorado, as well as the growing medical marijuana industry. The two states both legalized the recreational use of weed in November. Elsewhere, 18 states and Washington, D.C. have made medical marijuana legal, while 10 others have formal measures pending to legalize medical marijuana, according to the National Cannabis Industry Association. That's reflective of a wider acceptance of the drug. A recent Pew Research Center poll discovered a majority of Americans support pot legalization for the first time in more than 4 decades. As many as 52% of Americans support legalizing weed, 45% do not, and nearly 3/4 say the amount of money spent enforcing marijuana usage laws is not worth the cost. Idaho Court of Appeals overturns marijuana DUI conviction. This from spokesman.com. The Idaho Court of Appeals has reversed a lower court's decision upholding a Boise man's conviction for driving under the influence of marijuana. The court ruled last week in the case of Jared Stark, who was found guilty in 2010 of driving while impaired. In its ruling, Judge Pro Tem Jesse Walters overturned the conviction, arguing that Stark's blood test results only prove he'd used marijuana recently, not the day he had stopped. There's no question Stark was impaired that day, Walters said, but there's no proof that drugs, and not some other condition, caused his erratic driving. During his original trial, Stark said he was disoriented because he was dehydrated and hungry. He said he also suffers from paranoid schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. Organizers of Long Island Summit say FDA should decide the merits of medical marijuana, not the states. From CBS New York. A Long Island not-for-profit agency headed a conference Monday trying to highlight a message of skepticism and caution on the issue of medical marijuana. The Long Island Council on Alcoholism and Drug Dependence, along with the Seafield and Caron Treatment Centers, hosted a so-called marijuana summit on Monday to detail the push for legislation in New York and talk about the experiences in other states that have already done so. The meeting comes after legislation was introduced in Albany last week to permit medical marijuana. Dr. Jeffrey Reynolds, executive director of LICAD, said he doesn't believe in legalizing medical pot and thinks it will hurt the majority of New Yorkers. Reynolds said his group believes that if cannabis is to be considered medicine, the route being traveled by the New York state government is not the right one. Quote, if it is to be considered medicine, then the Federal Food and Drug Administration should be approving this, not the New York State Legislature, he said. Guru of ganja tells Michigan crowd legalization cured the need for medical marijuana. From rawstory.com. Speaking to a crowd gathered Saturday for Michigan's annual Hash Bash and marijuana legalization protest in Ann Arbor, former High Times columnist and self-proclaimed guru of ganja Ed Rosenthal declared that the successful legalization initiatives in Colorado and Washington last November have cured him of his need for medical marijuana. He said, quote, up to then I had been using marijuana medically. Then, when the polls came in and it showed that marijuana was made legal, I found that I had been cured. Cured! I would no longer need a prescription to get it. Hallelujah. End quote. Rosenthal's joking issuance of a clear prognosis is likely to give ammo to drug reform critics who say that medical marijuana legalization is just another step down the road to regulating adult use and over-the-counter purchases. And that's your 420 Radio News for Monday, April 8th, 2013. I'm Russ Belville. When we come back, we go behind the headlines and take a look at changes here at 420radio.org for this summer. Thanks for supporting 420 Radio. You can become a VIP member by visiting our website at 420radio.org/support us. We are listener-supported cannabis community radio, and we'll be right back.